All right, let's make an alignment. That'll be the next thing that we're going to do here. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a plan and profile drawing. Now a plan and profile drawing has the plan, which is the top view. That shows a bird's eye view basically of the whatever you're working on. And the profile is down below. And what the profile shows is how the ground slopes as you walk down the center of the street, essentially. So the process for this is to create an alignment, sample the alignment, and then from that, create elevations and distances as you would walk along the road. So our first step here is to create an alignment. Okay. So here's my map, and I want to take that center line and turn it into an alignment. Now I want to clean some things up first. What I've got there is I've got the contours, which I didn't start with, but they might be on your drawing. I've got the points and I've got that property line on there. So what I want to do is freeze those layers just to get them out of the way. The contours are right there. I already froze them. You'll probably need to freeze them on yours though. Right there, C topo, MAJR, meaning major. There they are. And C topo minor, there they are, but you need to freeze them. So just go ahead and freeze them. I already had them frozen when I came into this, but you'll need to freeze yours, I think. Okay, I'm just getting this stuff out of the way so I can work with the drawing relatively easily. Okay, I've also got this purple line running over the center line there. I'm going to use that center line to make this alignment. So I want to get that purple line turned off. And that is C prop line, I think. Notice how the colors match pretty well. I think that's it anyway. So if I freeze that, it'll go away. So now I see that my center line I drew in yellow. And then the last thing, I think I'll get some of those points off because there's just, they're a bit of a clutter in there. So I'll get they're mostly ground shot points, so I'll turn those off. So I can work with that, okay? All right, so there's the map that I'm going to work with. I'm going to take that center line that runs down the middle of the street, and I'm going to turn it into an alignment. Now, if you notice on these maps, the center line starts at 0 + 0, 0. That's where the two center lines intersect. However, the profile needs to extend back behind that. And then this center line runs to the middle of the bulb, but the profile needs to extend beyond that too. So I need to put some stubs on my center line that will actually allow me to create an alignment out in these areas so that I can draw my profile beyond 0 + 0, 0 here, sort of the left of that in this area, and also draw it out here beyond the bulb. That's normally how you draw profiles. So you need to anticipate that and get ready for that, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this straight line that's coming into the intersection right there, and I'm going to grab the end of it right there, and I'm going to attach it to center line here, okay, like that. And then I'm going to trim that back to the property line. Okay, and then I'm going to list that out and see how long it is. It's 25 feet, okay? So that's a 25-foot little stub there. Okay, now I don't want that to display when I go ahead and draw up the plan and profile. Okay, notice that it doesn't show here. And that's the norm. Normally you don't show these stubs on here. So that I can control them so I don't have to display them. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to change the layer of it, okay? So I'm going to put that on a junk layer, that as I call it, so I don't have to display it. Okay, it'll be there, but it'll just be on a different layer. Okay, and that's why I didn't just extend this line out to here. That's why I did the copy and trim thing, so I could make that a different layer. And I'll do the same thing on the other end of the road here, okay? So I'll just copy this line, and I'll slap it on the end of this line, and then I'll trim it. And then I'll grip edit and change the layer, and I'll put it on the property line layer, or excuse me, I'm sorry, the junk layer. There we go. All right, so now I'm ready to make an alignment out of this thing, okay? So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to realize that what I make an alignment out of will be taken out by the program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of my center line and move that off the drawing, okay? Or not off the drawing, but out of the way, I guess I might say. So I'm going to pull that up there. So that's a copy. And what I'll do next is I'm going to turn that into a polyline. And yes, I want to turn that segment into it, and then I'm going to join these other pieces to that one segment. So that'll make that into one polyline. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grip edit that. And put it on the junk layer. Okay. And then I'm going to use O-snaps and move it right back where it was. Okay. So I just moved it up here to the right so I could work with it to kind of get it out of the way. But once I've turned it into a P line and put it on the junk layer, I'm going to put it right there. All right. Now I want to get that yellow center line out of there. That's what I'm going to display eventually. So I want to freeze that just to be sure I'm not picking that by accident. I want to keep that in there so I can display it later. So I'll freeze it now so I can't edit it. And then what I'm going to do next is p-edit. Whoops. So do a p-edit. And I'm going to pick this line here. But I guess before I do that, I can't remember if I've done this yet or not, but I need to list out that stub and see how long it is. Okay. I need to do this first. And see, that comes out to be a 25-foot length. So that's how long that stub is. Okay. I want to remember that. Okay, now I'm going to do a p-edit, and I'm going to pick this polyline here, and I'm going to join that stub to that polyline. That's a 25-foot stub. And let's make sure I did that. I kind of got a little bit lost there. Okay, I did. Okay, so I'm good. And then I'm going to zoom back out. And I'll pan on down, and I'll do the same thing for the stub on the other end. So what I want here is a continuous polyline from one end to the other. So I'm doing p-edit. I pick this as my P line, and then I use the join option. There we go. Okay, so that gets me one long polyline. All right. All right, so there's my polyline, the length of, from one end of the length of this road. So it starts on this back right-of-way line, ends here. All right, now, when I draw this plan and profile, typically 0 plus 0, 0 is at the center line intersection. So what I'm going to do now when I turn this into an alignment is remember that I've got a 25-foot stub there before 0 plus 0, 0. I want 0 plus 0, 0 right here, okay? But I got to remember I got this 25 feet of line coming in before 0 plus 0, 0, okay? So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go Home, Alignment, Create from Objects. I'm going to pick that center line, that alignment, I guess I should say, and then I'm going to hit Enter. Now, notice I've got an arrow here pointing to the right. Now, I picked it on this side where 0 plus 0, 0 is purposely, because that way it knows that the stationing on this, the numbering of that center line starts on this end and works that way. Now, had I picked it on this side, the arrow would point the other direction, meaning that 0 plus 0, 0 is here, and the stationing increases this way. Now, had I done that, it's not a big problem. I can just type an R, enter, and it'll reverse the direction of the arrow. But just keep your eye on that arrow and be sure that it's pointing the proper direction, okay? So we want to be sure that that's going the right way. And it is right now, so I'll just hit Enter, and I'll get a dialog box. Now what I want to do here is put in a name. If I'm working on a lab or something, I'll put the name of the street up there. Now importantly here, see, it wants to make that starting station 0. Now I want to make it -25, because remember I've got that 25-foot stub. By putting a -25 in there, what'll happen is by the time this thing gets to 0, it'll be at the center line intersection, okay? All right, and then the last thing is the label set. We're going to use no labels, okay? So I would do that. All right, so there we go. We're all set up, and we can hit OK. And we'll get an alignment now. Okay. So it's under centerline alignments, and there it is, okay? So that's how you make an alignment.